Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. So we're back at it. Yesterday I was off, just busy around the house, doing things with the family and things like that. Christmas is coming up, obviously, because that's part of it. So I didn't get a chance to record. I got home late, and well, we didn't do a show. But today, obviously, we had rate cuts yesterday. Markets were kind of iffy about it yesterday. They were iffy about it today, this morning as well. Oracle came out with some bad numbers, I guess, and stock tank there. That brought down all the AI Bitcoin miners as well. Bitcoin was kind of in a grumpy mood today as well. It was down and then it came actually up towards the end of the day. So that was pretty good here. We got updates from Cango, Hive as well. We got some other updates as well on the markets, IREN as well, some other things. We'll get into all that stuff as always. And then we'll get into Q&A. Okay, as always, you guys know the drill here. Non-financial advice for doing only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. It helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at what's going on here on the Bitcoin, miners, and everything else. All right, so Bitcoin, pretty volatile day today. If we look at the candle here, we definitely had a wild day today. We went down all the way to 89,257. We had a high of 93,594 and 76 cents roughly. Basically, that was more or less, like $4,000 swing on Bitcoin. I mean, we've seen this here before as well. But it was nice that we actually found I don't know if we found a footing maybe, but it looks like we maybe found a footing here right around 92,000 or so. We keep targeting 94,000 plus, but we keep getting rejected there. So maybe we are starting to, go up higher from here. We'll see. Good news is obviously Fed cut rates 25 basis points. Quantitative easing is starting, I think, tomorrow as well. That's going to be great news, right? The Fed's buying back like $40 billion worth of, whatever they're buying, $40 billion off. And everything else looks pretty good here so far. So Bitcoin obviously was up today a little bit, just a bit. It was up 0.55%. Could have been much worse. So where we ended up by the end of the day was actually pretty good. Miners were the same thing. I mean, they were down for the majority of the day. And then finally, like within the last hour and a half to 2 hours, they started to kind of come back up here a little bit, get some life in them, and actually ended up being in the green here. So that was great. Markets were kind of mixed a little bit today. Dow Jones was up 1.34. I think that one did hit a new all-time high. Yeah, I think that one hit a new all-time high today. NASDAQ is still down a little bit here. It was down today 0.25. S&P is getting close to an all-time high there. Russell obviously got two new all-time high as well. So we got at least 2 out of the 4 here getting new all-time highs, which is obviously going to help us going forward here. I think 2026 is going to be a great year for us. There's going to be volatility, obviously, in that, as always. Right? We're going to be up, we're going to be down, we're going to be up, we're going to be down. It's going to be a continuation of things we've seen before as well. Miners had a good day overall. Bitfarms was flat on the day. It was 0%. BitDeer was up a little bit, 2.09%. Cango was up 6.09%. Maybe it's finally bottomed out here today, getting a low of $1.12. Maybe that's the bottom for it. Cypher was up 2.16%. Cleanspark was up 2%. CORZ was up a little bit, 0.4%. Hive was up 2.52%. Hut 8 was up 1.54%. IREN was up just a little bit. It touched again the 100 SMA here. We've seen this a couple times here, at least twice, that it got really close to 100 SMA and bounced off of that. It did the same thing here. Maybe that's bottoming out there as well. Mara was down 0.67%. Riot was up 1.16%. Wolf was up just a little bit, 0.44%. And the Bitcoin holding companies, MicroStrategy was down a little bit, 0.73%. Galaxy was up actually 0.93%. Block was up 0.51%. Coinbase was down 2.21%. Metaplanet was up 3.57%. Exodus was up 5.47%. Nexon was flat. Similar was down 5.55%. Phoenix was up 2.17%. And GameStop was down 1.18%. Small miners were all in the red here today, with Argo being down the most, being down 7.19%. They got to a new low of 12, right? I'll be surprised if this thing actually survives. Looks like they're doing a split. Oh my gosh, a split 1 for 216. That's coming up tomorrow. Well, that'll at least get them above the $1 range there, I guess, and plus some. But like I said, I'll be surprised if this thing survives going forward. DigiPower was down 2.41%. DMG was up a little bit, 0.48. Mawson was down 8.96% there. They did a split also. This was back on November here. They did a 1 for 20 split. Right, this is another one that I'll be surprised if that one survives. Cango was down 1.75%. ETFs for the miners here were mostly in the red here, somewhere in the green here. BitQ was down 0.3, BKCH was down 0.3 as well. DAP was flat. WGMI was the only one that was up 0.94%, and that's mainly because of the miners up here doing at least a little bit better towards the end of the day. So that helped out that one. Ethereum holding companies were mixed as well. We had BMNR being down 5% today. BitDigital was up 4.24. BTCS was up 2.01. Game was up 2.48. And SBET was down 4.08. Other companies that we track, we can see that American Bitcoin was down another 5.67% there. Getting close to the bottom here. We'll see if we get a double tap on that bottom there and maybe bounce off of that. I still think it's a little overvalued though, so we may come down a little bit more. What else do we have here? We got Wi-Fi being down 2.56%. Open was up 0.71%. Oracle down 10.83%. Something obviously spooked them there. I mean, if you look at the earnings, surprise, revenue was down, I guess. That's what maybe freaked them out. Nibius was up a little bit, 0.74%. Soluna was up 7.11% there. Bakkt was down 1.48. Fermi was down 0.85. And then when we look at like the big dogs, Meta was up a little bit, 0.4. Google was actually down 2.27. This one thing has been kind of flat here overall, a little bit range bound here, it seems like. Amazon was down 0.65%. Microsoft was up 1.03%. And NVIDIA was down 1.55% there overall. And then the miners here in pre-hours for Friday, they're mixed. We got Bittier being up a little bit, 0.94%. Bitfarms being down 0.34%. Cango being down 0.82% right now. We got Cypher being down 0.53%. Cleanspark is down 1.08%. Core is actually up 0.29%. Hive is down 0.3%. Hut 8 is still up 0.02%. IREN is down let's see, where does it finish out? Come on. Down 0.34%. Mara is up 0.17%. Riot is up 0.25%. And TeraWolf here is up actually 1%, 1.01%. So not too bad. Bitcoin for the month of December is still up 2.2%, which is not too bad there. Bitcoin ETF inflows, outflows. We had outflows today. We'll see where BlackRock comes in with IBIT. Yesterday, we had inflows of 223 million. It's a little bit of outflows today. We'll see where, like I said, BlackRock comes in at that point. All right, some good news, obviously. This is from Mike Alfred. Breaking, the Fed will begin buying back 40 billion of short-term bills starting December 12th. Quantitative easing is back, right? That's a good thing for, obviously, risk on assets and things like that. This is great news. That's part of the, I don't know what's part of, but it's part of the rate cuts there. They're doing this to help the economy a little bit. Jobs, big thing for them. Also, I thought this was kind of interesting as well. Just in the U.S. bank regulator just said JP Morgan, Bank of America, and Citi could face fines for debanking Bitcoin and crypto firms. Justice is on the way. This is from the Bitcoin historian. This would be very, very interesting if this does go to pass. Yeah, I mean, that's a big thing. They have a lot of control as far as who can be banked and who can't be banked. And if they don't like your activities, they can debank you, which is not right. If it's not illegal, there's really no reason why they should be debanking you. So if they get a little bit spanked on the rear there for this and maybe pay some fines, I'm all for this, right? There's no reason people should be debanked unless you're actually funding terrorists and things like that. Okay, next here. This is great news for IREN. So Streets High price target is $136. Cantor Fitzgerald believes there is 108% upside. Are they right? I think there is right. There's obviously a lot of not companies, but a lot of investment firms and analysts having much higher price targets for IREN from where it's at right now. So I think the upside is definitely there. IREN just has to continue to execute, continue to build out. And there you will eventually get to those higher price targets here, whether it's going to be within the next 6 months to 12 months. We don't know. Could take 18 months, possibly, maybe even longer. But we will get there eventually, I believe. Next here, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the week, right? So Tuesday, they announced, this is, oh gosh, I can't remember the company there, Boom, they announced their turbine for power generation, 42 megawatt generator there. After the release of that information on Tuesday, announced 42 megawatts of natural gas turbine. Wednesday, inbox was flooded with requests to buy. Our initial plan to produce 7.5 gigawatts in the next 5 years seems radically insufficient. Yeah, there is just huge demand for power, megawatts, availability, and the grid in the United States is not able to produce enough quickly enough to sustain the needed amount for AI, data centers, and all that stuff going forward here. There is going to be a shortfall of megawatts for the next, I would say, 5-10 years, maybe even longer, unless we actually do get data centers in space here, which obviously would offset a lot of the need for megawatts here. But in the interim, the companies that do have megawatts available to them, they should benefit greatly from it because people are going to need megawatts and they need it quickly here. So that's great news there. Next, we have President Trump signed an executive order creating a single national AI regulation framework which pulls authority away from the states. The idea is one approval lane for power and compute instead of patchwork that slows everything down. This is a good move. We talked about this when they were talking about it, I think, earlier last week. I thought he signed it at that point, but maybe he didn't sign it. It's just something that they were talking about doing. Now he finally signed it, I guess. So this is great news as well. AI, we are in an AI arms race between other countries as well. China obviously is the next one in line here. And we need to do everything we can to make the U.S. the superpower of AI. And we do have obviously a lot of great companies in here, right? NVIDIA, Google, Meta, OpenAI, as well as XAI. There's just a lot of great technology and information technology companies working towards AI, and we need to make it easier for them to get the megawatts they need and everything else in order to propel us going forward. The big race is for either general AI, GAI, or SAI, right? Super intelligence AI as well. Because whoever gets there first is obviously going to be, well, they're going to be dictating, I think, a lot of things at that point because they're going to be generating so much revenue on it, it's going to be ridiculous. So we definitely need that here in the United States if we want the United States to continue to be a superpower, I think, on it. So that's great news there. And then the couple updates that we do have here from Hive and as well as from Cango. We'll get into that here right now, and then we'll get into Q&A. So Hive provides us with two updates today. One is that they are entering the Colombia listing on the exchange there. So Hive is expanding in its Latin America capital markets presence with the new listing on the Colombian Stock Exchange, one of the region's deepest, broadest, and most institutionally connected exchanges. As part of the integrated Andean market linking Colombia, Peru, and Chile, the exchange provides regional investors with enhanced access and broader liquidity. By joining this platform, Hive becomes the first Bitcoin and AI infrastructure company to list in Colombia, reinforcing its position as a major renewable power data center operator in Latin America and complementing its long-standing listing in Canada, Germany, and on NASDAQ. Yeah, so Hive has been one of the, if not, I think they were one of the first ones to get publicly listed on Canadian Stock Exchange and then into the OTC desk here in the United States as well, Germany as well. They've been kind of the leaders in that regard. They're going all the way back to 2017. And then you had other companies get on board as well after that. You had Bitfarms, I believe, Hut 8. They were all Canadian-based. And then you had other companies here in the United States, Mara, Riot, all those were coming on board as well at that time. So they have definitely been a leader, like I said. And it's going to give them, obviously, a little bit more capital there. So that's a good thing. They're going to need the capital to fund their growth into 2026, especially as they're transitioning some of their sites from Tier 1 sites to Tier 3 sites in Canada and in Sweden as well, which we'll cover in the next release, which they provided their monthly production update here for November. Yeah. Okay. So here's this. This is their production update for November. They reached 25 exahash. Also, they're targeting Tier 3 data centers and with accelerated growth here in 2026. But Bitcoin production was 290 Bitcoin, up 182% year over year from 103 Bitcoin in November 2024. Their average Bitcoin daily production is 9.7 Bitcoin per day, which is really nice. Hash rate averaged at 23.5 exahash per second, peaking at 25.4 exahash there in November. And fleet efficiency down to 17.5 joules per terahash, which is really, really good because they were like over 30 joules per terahash when they started this endeavor back last year, early last year. Which they've been improving their efficiencies as time has progressed, which is nice to see that as well. Okay. Fully deployment in Paraguay achieved. In November, 2 weeks ahead of schedule, the company commissioned the final A6 at its Phase 3 Valenzuela campus, bringing the full 300 megawatt of Paraguay capacity online. This milestone represents 25 exahash of installed global mining capacity with an average efficiency of approximately 17.5 joules per terahash. Building on this momentum, Hive plans to develop an additional 100 megawatt hydroelectric powered data center in Yaguzi campus in early 2026, with full commissioning targeted for calendar Q3 2026. The company will evaluate the optimal return on invested capital strategy for this new capacity as it comes online. Once complete, Hive's total renewable infrastructure footprint will reach 540 megawatts across 3 continents, including 400 megawatts in Paraguay and 140 megawatts across Canada and Sweden. So a lot of their stuff is obviously down in, would that be Latin America, I think? This is the proper term, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think it's Latin America. Again, no sites in the United States, which I wish they would kind of go into the United States as well, but maybe in time they will. Maybe we'll get some reports on that happening next year. We'll see. On that, going down here, fast-tracking HPC infrastructure for AI supercycle. I don't know how I feel about using the word supercycle. I think it was just an AI race right now, but it could be a supercycle, I guess. So in November, Hive subsidiary Buzz, High Performance Computing Inc., a Canadian-based leader in high-performance computing, ranked #1 worldwide for network download speed in the latest Semi-Analysis Cluster Max 2.0 report, a trusted independent benchmark for GPU cloud platforms. So that's great for them. That's awesome to see, right? That's actually really, really good. So love seeing that. To meet the global surge in compute demand, the company is accelerating hyperscaler-ready AI and HPC infrastructure on renewable energy backbone as record cash flows from Bitcoin mining are funding tier 1 to tier 3 upgrades across this global footprint. So that is great also, right? We've seen that also with IREN. IREN, their Bitcoin mining business side of things, is funding their growth into HPC as well. So that's nice to see there. And the growth that they've had here the past year has been fantastic. I don't know what kind of other superlatives I could use, but it has been really, really good there. In Toronto, Buzz HPC is upgrading its 7.2 megawatt facility for tier 3 sovereign AI applications, keeping data and compute domestic through operating 2,000 next generation GPUs. Parallel upgrades in Boden, Sweden expand tier 3 plus capacity to operate additional 2,000 GPUs for Buzz HPC operations. This is further complemented by the 2,000 next generation GPUs that are coming online in Buzz partnership with Bell Canada, with the first shipment of 504 GPUs expected to be operational in calendar Q1 of this coming year, and this next year. So that's great to see that they're going obviously in that direction. And then a little bit of management insight here. As we prepare to enter calendar 2026, there's a global arms race as the demand for compute continues to accelerate, said Executive Chairman Frank Holmes. Our renewable campuses enable low-cost, rapid deployment in months, not years, with Bitcoin's next cycle and AI demand surging. Our dual-engine model is positioned to capture both super cycles in real time, with cash flow from Bitcoin operations driving up exponential HPC growth. Okay, Bitcoin is not in a super cycle. Bitcoin is in an extended cycle, but it's not in a super cycle. A super cycle would be like Bitcoin going from where it's at right now, 100,000 to like 1 million in a year and a half. That'd be like a super cycle. We are not in that. We are in an extended cycle with Bitcoin. For AI, we are in also a race. Yes, super cycle. Strong terminology there, at least for my take on it. Okay, but this is all great news. The Hive has done a fantastic job here growing the last calendar year, being from basically 6 exahash where they were late last year to where they are right now. This is fantastic growth. I love seeing that. My only, like I keep saying, my only, not really concern, I would say, is just my only little jab at them would be not having any operations in the United States. I think that would give them, I think, a more of a premium price compared to where they are right now. That's just my thoughts on it. Okay, so when we look at Hive here, we'll look at them really quickly and get into Cango here. Hive here has right now 236 million shares outstanding. Performance has not been great over the last 12 weeks. We've seen that for a lot of the miners as well, so that's nothing shocking there. They're not the only ones that have seen this. But from 12 weeks ago, they're down 17.7%. From 8 weeks ago, they're down 45%. From 4 weeks ago, they're down about 6%. And last week, they were down 7.14%. Right? Their current hash rate, 25 exahash, has been reached. Future hash rate right now is 25. They have stated that they could get to like 35 exahash next year. Potentially sometime if they go that path. We'll obviously have to wait to see that. Bitcoin HODL, I don't know what they HODL right now. I think it's like 580 roughly. This is like the last number I had from April. correct me if I'm wrong on that. Megawatts, I think, is 540, which is what they reported here as well. Megawatts pipeline is also 540, so they're pretty much fully utilized right now as it is, with the additional 100 megawatts that are going to be building out, right? So that gets them to 540 there. HODL has about 6.94% right now in the market cap, and each share has about 23 cents of HODL position there potentially, if my number is correct here still on that one. Bitcoin production, you can see that their improvement here ever since April has been very, very nice. They were at a low of 89 Bitcoin in February of this year. They're at 290 here. That is based on they've been increasing their hash rate faster than the network hash rate has been increasing, which is great to see. Now that it has basically plateaued a little bit, getting to 25 exahash, we should start seeing their Bitcoin production come down as the network hash rate continues to go up. We've seen that with other miners as well, so that's kind of what I'm expecting there. Estimated run rate avenue right now for them, Bitcoin plus HPCI that we have for the last month here of November, plus the quarterly results that they were provided, the AI numbers there. That's kind of what we're looking at, their annual run rate right now. Monthly Bitcoin mining revenue has been increasing nicely here. Obviously, Bitcoin's coming down in November, brought them down a little bit here in revenue-wise, but still really good compared to where they were. It's basically a 3x from where they were in just February and March of this year. Bitcoin HODL, like I said, I don't know where they are with that. Hash rate, they're at fully installed right now, 25 exahash. Bitcoin sold, they don't report anymore, so I'm guessing they sell everything here recently. Bitcoin per exahash efficiency, still really efficient, 11.6. And then Bitcoin sold value, obviously, there. Going down here, we'll get into institutions and analysts for them. Institutions did increase to 174 there. Shares also increased to 70.49 million, and that's now 33.36% owned by institutions. We still have the 6 strong buy ratings, 2 buy ratings, 0 holds, 0 performs, 0 sells, and price targets stayed the same for the high at $11. Average went down a little bit to $8.88, and the low went down a little bit as well to $7 here. Okay, going down here for the month of November, I had them operating for roughly 27.198 days. That got us to the 27.918 million here, which coincides with kind of the average price of Bitcoin and what they actually, mine 290 Bitcoin there. And we're usually pretty close to that figure there. Within, last quarter we were really close. We were within 0.03%. So I feel pretty confident in those numbers there right now. For the quarter here in Q4, which I think is actually their Q2, I think, they will be coming in at about 88 million. So there will still be an increase over the prior quarter as long as Bitcoin stays where it's at right now for that. All right. As far as my valuation on them right now, where do I think that they should be? Well, they're at $3.26. I think they should be somewhere between $7.51 and $11.27. That's with a PE of 10. That is giving them a discount because they do not have any operations in the United States, right? If they had operations in the United States, or at least some operations in the United States, I would give them a little bit more premium there on the PE side of things. But that goes inside with the analysts, right? $11 for the high, low $7. So we're right in there where the analysts are thinking as well on that. So yeah, I think they're undervalued. They should be at least double from where they are right now, if not a triple. But will they get that? Time will tell, right? I think as long as the market goes up nicely, and they continue to execute on their HPC AI conversion, or the data centers to tier 3 data centers and start generating revenue from that, I think that will help out as well in the long run here. So overall, really, really good job by Hive team, growing their hash rate, building out their data centers as well to tier 3. That is going to be obviously, I think, very fundamental change in the way the company is viewed next year as well, with investors potentially. But again, I think if they could get into the United States, that would be an even bigger plus there as well. So maybe we'll get that. We'll see what they do for next year. But yeah, nice job there. Again, like I said, undervalued right now, in my opinion. All right, let's get into Cango here really quick, and we'll get into Q&A here. So Cango's pretty short and sweet here. Number of Bitcoin produced here is down 546.7 from the 602.6 that they had in the prior month. Average number of Bitcoins produced per day was 18.22. Total number of Bitcoins held, that continued to increase. They didn't sell anything here in November. That's now up to 6,959.3. Deployed hash rate 50 exahash. Average operating hash rate was 44.38. So they're down from October there. I don't know whether that was based on weather. I guess it's probably weather-related things why they curtailed, or just price of electricity there maybe. I mean, yeah, not much else to talk about there. I think we've covered everything else here, so we'll just take a look at their numbers here really quick and get into Q&A. All right, so Cango, a lot of shares outstanding now compared to where they started here just about a year ago. We're up to 383 million, almost 384 million there in shares. Market cap 468 million. Performance of the last 12 weeks, not great, right? Like I said before, a lot of these companies have not had a great performance for the last 12 weeks. They're down 45.6 from 12 weeks ago, down 41.5 from 8 weeks ago, down 21.2 from 2 weeks ago, and down last week about 19.33%. Okay, current hash rate, they're at 50 exahash, future hash rate 50 exahash. They're fully installed right now as it is. Bitcoin HODL 6,959. That's valued at 642 million. I mean, that's valued more than their market cap is right now. So they're definitely underwater in their valuation, at least based by numbers here, at least. Right. So HODL to market cap is 137.26%. And each share has $1.67 in it, and the stock price is valued at $22. So based on that, they would be undervalued on this alone. Yes, they don't have much as far as infrastructure. They're pretty asset light. Like I said before, I think they have like 50 or 80 megawatts site that they purchased here this past year, but that's still far, far away from where, the percentage wise, it's still very, very small compared to everything that they host right now. Okay, going down here to month-over-month difference on BTC mined and Bitcoin production here. We've seen that Bitcoin production has been dropping here as time is going by the last 4 months or so. They reached 50 exahash in July, and as a result, they've been coming down here, right? No increase in hash rate for them results in less Bitcoin being mined as the Bitcoin network continues to increase there. Revenue has been also coming down as their share of the Bitcoin network has been decreasing. But also Bitcoin price going down here towards the last couple of months doesn't help that either, right? But they generate about 52.63 million right now as it is. Bitcoin HODL has been increasing here, yes, but they're not being really valued on that either. All of these kind of companies that have a HODL position, MicroStrategy and others as well, right, have been beaten down here. They're not getting really rewarded for that HODL there. So that's why the stock is where it's at right now. What else do we have here? BTC per exahash efficiency down quite a bit here to 10.9. Definitely took a little bit of hit there in efficiency a little bit for the month of November there. Going down here, we can see, let's see here, institutions. Institutions decreased to 58. Shares did increase to 34.5 million. And percentage owned is down 12.4%. And that's because they increased a large number of shares in the third quarter to get to 50 exahash basically. We now have analyst price or analyst targets here as 0 strong buys, 1 buy rating, 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sells. And we have a high price target of $30 for them average across and the low side of things as well. For the month of November, I had them operating about 25.331 days. That got us to the 52.631 million, which coincides with this number up here, which I used based on the Bitcoin price average for the month, along with the network hash rate where it was started out and ended up at. And my price target for them is somewhere between $1.23 and $2.06. They're $1.22. I do have them down quite a bit there. Maybe we should probably bump them up a little bit more, right? I know that they're asset light, but maybe they could be up a little bit higher here right now, because based on this, they should be, at least on their HODL position alone, they should be valued a little bit higher. So yeah, let's give them a little bit of a higher boost here, just a bit. We'll get them to, I can put them at 10. I think 10 would be fair. Asset light, big HODL position there. So somewhere between 247 and 411, right? So a double from here, I think is feasible, where they should probably be valued fairly at that point. That would get their HODL here to market cap lower, below 100%, which would be good. And they are generating revenue, but the big thing is asset light doesn't correspond with getting a higher premium in the stock price. So I think maybe we're being generous there as far as P at 10 on that one. But yeah, based on just the simple fact that they have more in HODL value than they do in market cap, that doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, so that's it for them. Big thing for them would be obviously to build out or at least acquire more sites where their machines are being hosted. I think that would be a good thing. And they just have to be smart about their operation. I mean, obviously with them hodling everything, they haven't sold anything here for the most part. That's going to equate to dilution of the shares. So they got to be wise on that, I think, as well, right? Does it take Bitcoin much longer time frame to get to 200,000, 300,000, whatever it might be, whether it's going to be a year to 2 years, 3 years, whatever it might be? Does it make sense to hodl everything and not sell a portion of it to fund your operations. And their operations are a little bit more costly because they do have also a lot of this stuff hosted. So a lot of things to think about for them going forward here into 2026 here. Okay. But yeah, I think they're slightly undervalued right now as it is. Probably could be at least a double from where they are right now if things turn around for them and the markets in general. Okay. And then, yeah, we'll see how they do. Okay, that's it. Spreadsheets, I'll send this out to you guys tomorrow. The Patreon members link for that is down in the description if you want to join and get access to all the spreadsheets that I do hold. And we do have, I think that might be it as far as what we might get as far as maybe BitDeer. We might get BitDeer to report maybe tomorrow or early next week. They're usually pretty late to reporting that, and I think that would be it for the miners to report. Everybody else looks like they're paused in Cypher, right? We haven't gotten it since September. IREN, we haven't gotten it since August there for their August operations. Mara stopped at September as well, CORZ as well. So I think that might be it here. So we'll give a couple more days for BitDeer to report, and then we'll call it a day for those guys. And then we'll get into some of the metrics here on the ones that actually have reported. The ones that haven't, no, unfortunately, they're going to be out. Okay? Let's get into Q&A here. Overall, I'm still extremely positive on the market in general. The sentiment's kind of crappy, but my overall thinking is we're still going to be doing very, very well here going into next year and possibly into 2027. But we'll see. All right. As always, questions, if you could preface those with a question mark or a Q, I would appreciate it. And as always, I'm going to scroll my way up and work my way down, and we'll get through it all here as is. Neil says, pump and dump, same old. Yeah, I mean, somebody asked me at work, seeing the markets were down, like, what's going on? He asked me, what's going on with the markets? Like, the markets are just the markets, right? They can be, what's that quote there? There's a quote that says something about the markets can be irrational longer than you can be solvent or something like that. And that's basically it. John says, hi, Seb. QE begins tomorrow. Very bullish for all markets, but more Cypher today. Very nice there. John Kurtz is also, oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking there? Showing his love for BMR, I guess, right? John says, watch BMR run. Okay, Steven asks, what the heck is wrong with Bitfarms? This one I should never have bought back in. I believe if they change their name, they would do better for one, but Ben has got to get a HPCI deal done. They're working on it. I mean, it's just not Bitfarms, it's everybody else. I mean, Bitfarms was at least flat today, I believe, right? If my memory serves me correct, I think they were flat on the day. So that's at least a good sign there. They didn't go down. More so, yeah, they were flat on the day. And yeah, they have a lot of potential. They're working on it. I think they also provided a tweet today or a post on X about increasing their megawatts currently in the United States, which is above 400 megawatts, I think, right now. So that's great news there as well. Rob is asking, why did Mawson's split there? Their stock price was below $1 for a long time. I think just to remain in compliance with the NASDAQ regulations, they got to do it. Yeah, the stock's not doing great there. Let's see here. Meat Force. Hi, Seb. I've been preaching that Soluna will have its IREN run if it reaches its target for 2026. Jane Street is stacking along others' thoughts. I would have to do some more research on Soluna there. It's nice to see that they are turning around things from where they were about 2 years ago, roughly. They got a new CEO, like I've said before, which is great. It seems like they're going in the right direction. The only thing I don't really like about the stuff that they're doing is a lot of stuff that they're doing is doing these partnerships, right? So they're partnering with other entities in there, and it muddies the water basically, as far as who's going to be, who's got the majority percentage of the partnerships there in the sites and things like that, and just muddies things. But yeah, I mean, I wish them all the best. Let's see. Rob asks, Seb, did you hear that it was Jane Street that was shorting Bitcoin? Well, that wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. Rob asks, what the heck is quantitative easing? Quantitative easing. Basically, they're going to be buying up back their not notes. Gosh, my mind is going blank here on it. I know what I want to say, but I can't say it. It's one of those things. Brain fart. I'm having a brain fart. You guys know what I mean. They're going to be buying back instead of, yeah, they're going to be buying back. That's the only way I can think of it right now. It'll come back to me in a couple of seconds. Let's see. Rob says JP Morgan should be debanked. I mean, people they should have a hefty fine. I'm not for fining companies unless they really screw up, and this is one of those big screw ups. Nobody should ever be debanked, unless, like I said, unless you fund like terrorists or something like that. Okay, then you should be probably debanked. But if you're doing things legally and you're just buying Bitcoin and they don't like that or whatever it might be, or you just had pressure from the government as well. In the case of Trump, I think Trump's organizations were debanked because of his political views. I don't think you should be debanked because of your political views. I don't think you should be debanked for any views that you have. Unless it's for hateful. I wouldn't even say it. Well, fine line there, right? Free speech. I'm all for free speech, but it shouldn't be hateful. It shouldn't incite violence or anything like that. That's kind of where I stand on things. All right. Let's see. Roger, I guess that's how you pronounce that. If I mispronounced that, I'm sorry. The 40 billion quantities is just temporary for repo markets to get past the holidays. I heard not indicative of future. That might be the case here. We'll see later on next year, right? We got another Fed meeting happening in January as well. We'll see what they say at that point, and then eventually Papa Powell is going to be gone here next year, and we'll have a new Fed chair there as well. And based on the rumors that we're seeing here, it looks like it's going to be dropping in rates pretty quickly, depending on how the economy does, I guess. But we'll see. All right, Dan, on a scale of 1 to 10, and 10 being most likely to happen, what would you rate the chance of Bitcoin hitting 250,000 by April 2026? Oh, I would say like a 9.5. I think that would happen. I think as long as we're in an extended cycle, I think 150,000 by April would be a pretty high chance there. We've seen Bitcoin, right, get to 126,000, getting to a new all-time high, 150,000. I think that's pretty high there. All right. Adam asks, any truth that Microsoft plans on firing up the old 3 Mile Island nuclear reactors to power new? Yes. There were press releases earlier this year about it. We talked about it at that point. We also saw Google going in for, is it hydro or nuclear? I can't remember now. For like 3 gigawatts also of available power. So yes, that is definitely a fact there. All right, Roger 10 for Bitcoin getting to 150,000. Rob 10, Bo Derek 10. Okay. Let's see, Ryan. Thank you so much for being here. You celebrate 33 months of membership. Love the bear market. Okay. Well, thank you. You've been here with me for a long time, Ryan. I greatly appreciate it, and wish you a happy holiday there, and to all you guys as well coming up here. All right. Ryan's being bear. Okay, Ryan says 3 on a scale of 1 to 10. A 3, Bitcoin will reach 150,000. Okay. Let's see, Millieggs. QE will make all stocks go up. Gold and silver and Bitcoin 2 AG did well today. I'm looking for a double on most BTC miners soon. Okay, that would be great. Adam, when do you think IREN will be in a position to start building out for the next big contract? I assume they've been all they can chew for a while with Microsoft build out. No, I don't think I don't think they've been all that they can chew right now. Remember how fast they built out the data centers for Bitcoin mining? I mean, it was just one right after another. Once they do the first one, it makes it much easier to build out the other ones as you go forward, right? So you kind of just rinse and repeat at that point. So I would say I think they still can do more. Obviously, we need more people at that point, right? They have, I think the last report was 900 people working there. We talked about it on the show on Tuesday, which actually, funny enough, that stream that I did on Tuesday got debanked by Google because somebody put a copyright strike on me because the video that we watched on IREN, there was some music in the background going on it, and somebody put a copyright claim. So that person is making a couple bucks that I would have made on that video at that point. So one thing I have to watch out, I guess, going forward is any videos that we do share here, there can't be any background music on it, which is kind of, it is what it is, but we'll play along with it. I'm not going to dispute it, right? I just would ask maybe the companies that do make the videos with maybe non-copyrighted music in the background, right? So that way we can talk about it without getting debanked or getting demonetized on the videos, okay? But yeah, I think they still can definitely do more if they wanted to. Rap says Hive numbers are impressive. Yes, they are. Rap says I'm getting more shares. Definitely. Okay, very nice. Yeah, they've been doing a fantastic job this past year. Like I said, my only thing is no operation in the United States. Maybe that can be overlooked by some. All right, Adam. Will IREN be the Bitcoin miner this time next year? Dan Roberts has said he is currently swapping out miners for GPUs. If so, when will we know, and how will that affect the stock price? Okay. Yes, they've said eventually that if they need sites to have GPUs instead of Bitcoin mining, they will do that. Right now, they are currently building out tier 3 data centers for Microsoft, which I don't think will impact their Bitcoin mining for the time being, at least for not right now. Now, if they get much more demand for it, things like that, but they are doing it in Canada, right? So in Canada, they've been swapping out Bitcoin miners for GPUs. So we could see a little bit of a drop in the hash rate there for them, along with some revenues from Bitcoin mining, unless Bitcoin goes up in price. Now, we will find out, obviously, since they're not reporting their quarterly or monthly reports, we will find out in their quarterly results as far as where they, how much did they mine and all that stuff. We can probably figure it out at that point. Okay. Okay. Morton, Kalish odds on second government shutdown are rising. Right, we're funded up to what, January, something like that, I believe, through partially January. I think we're funded right now. All right. Point of easing is when the central banks inject money into the economy by buying large amounts of government bonds. Thank you. That's what I was just thinking of, bonds, aiming to lower long-term interest rates and stimulating growth in riskier assets. Yes. All right. Roger asks, when are they replacing Papa Powell? I think he's got until the middle of the year, I think, right? Somewhere around there. April, May, June, right around there is when his term is up, basically. So I think, what does he get? He gets 6 years, I think, right? And the new person will get 6 years as well. So that's happening later on this year. So I would expect summertime is probably going to be pretty good for us if we get the right person in there and they start cutting rates, depending if we need to cut rates. Obviously, Trump wants rates lower because he wants to spur the economy going into the midterms, which he obviously wants to have Republicans hold the majority there in the House and Senate, I think. But yeah, we will definitely see where things go from that point. But that's why I'm saying I think that 2026 is still going to be a pretty good year for us overall, unless something catastrophic happens, which I'm not expecting to happen. But yeah, things should be looking better for us next year. Things weren't that bad this year, even all things considered. Bitcoin was flat, yes. Miners did actually pretty good here compared to where they were. So we did okay there. All right, but that's it. We're going to call it a day. We'll see where things end up. Oh, tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will not probably do a show. Tomorrow, we are having the Christmas party at the company that I work at. So I will be getting home late, probably not have enough time to go over anything or prepare anything. So we'll have to cover it on Sunday. Whatever happens tomorrow, we'll cover on Sunday's show at that point. So I wish you guys a great Friday. Hopefully you guys can enjoy it. Hopefully we get a nice green day in Bitcoin miners, Bitcoin as well, markets overall. Hopefully your bags get nicely stuffed for Christmas and the holidays. We still have a couple more weeks to go before that happens, but overall, I hope everything goes up to the north side, to the green side, and we have a nice little Santa rally happening for us. Okay? Overall, thank you so much for coming in. Love you all. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys on Sunday. Until then,